what people need to understand, I think, is that the report is 448 pages long. There's no reason looking at it to think that Mueller left anything on the cutting room floor that was at all damaging, whether you're talking about collusion or obstruction. The chance that they're going to find anything that's damaging in the underlying documents, I think, is remote. I actually think what we're beginning to see is that there's more chance that when you look at the underlying documents, there may be exculpatory information in there that wasn't included in the report that's suddenly starting to come out. I think for the moment, before we get overwhelmed with the presidential cycle, they're in a quandary because the Democrats' base badly wants to impeach the president. Even if they can't remove him in the Senate, they would like to have that notch on the belt. And then there's the other 2/3 of the country that's had it with all of this. They don't want to hear about impeachment. They don't want to hear any more about Russia. That doesn't mean they're in love with Trump. Some of them are, but it means that people in good faith sat back and said, let's see what Mueller has. Turned out that he didn't have anything that was much more than what we already knew, and people want to move on from it.
Can I just jump in here real quick as a Democrat that I think belongs in that 2/3 that you're describing, that I'm over it. I have, investigation fatigue. I'm not a huge fan of Donald Trump, but, I've had it up to here with all of this back and forth. And I'll tell you, I'm from Ohio. I was just home all last week. People are not necessarily talking about this.
What are they talking about?
Anything but this. I mean, graduations, they care about, so many more things. This is such an inside the beltway thing. And there are aspects of the Democratic Party that do want to see this. One thing that I find interesting that I recently heard was that one of the strategies that I think Democrats in Congress are trying to execute is the fact that if they try to, control the narrative, or particularly the news cycle, with impeachment or impeachment light or contempt light, then they're not giving the bully pulpit to Donald Trump. I happen to think that that's actually not right, because you're giving him something to go up against. Well, but that's apparently that's part of their strategy.
Well, wait, before you comment on that, because Nancy Pelosi said something very similar, and then you respond. Go ahead. Do we have that?
I'm done with him. I don't even want to talk about it. My stock goes up every time he attacks me. So what can I say? But let's not spend too much time on that, because that's his victory. The diverter in chief, the diverter attention in chief.
He controls the news cycle.
Well, why is that breaking news? Like, I don't understand. And anything that you give him, what we call on Twitter, give him some ratio. Serve it up, because that only makes you stronger. It's something that, and we'll get into this later, it's something that Joe Biden has been able to avoid, because he's not really getting, the grit of going up against anything right now. Maybe that'll change in the next hour and a half when he's in Iowa at the same time as the president. But with this, I'm just wondering, what do Democrats think they're going to do? So the president can talk about the economy and some things that are working and all that he's done, and then now you're giving him a reason to show people why they hate politicians. Like, and he came in as a non-politician. I don't understand it. It's like they're doing messaging for him.